Hello everybody and welcome back to Healthcare Kata. This is part 5 of a 6-part series. This is Michael Lombard, Corporate Director of Operational Excellence for Cornerstone Healthcare Group. In the previous videos I shared some examples of my experiments in healthcare applying the Toyota Kata approach, kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm going to continue doing that here. This is kind of my second foray or second experiment utilizing the Toyota Kata approach in healthcare. The first one was the acute care hospital in the suburbs of Dallas-Fort Worth that I was at previously, and the current experiment is at Cornerstone. And we're a 19-hospital system of long-term acute care hospitals spread across 6 states. And I've been here about 5.5 months, I guess now. I'm recording this in October of 2014, and I've done, maybe 150, maybe some more coaching cycles. Bunch of different learners both at the corporate leadership level and at the hospital leadership level, and it's been a lot of fun. We've learned a lot, and we've started to spread the approach, and we've got a lot of lessons learned to share. So I'm going to jump into one right now. There's this thing called the OctaKata. One of our hospitals wanted to improve their quality, reduce their costs, and grow the business, and so I worked with the hospital CEO to develop his A3 to define their improvement strategy. And we infused the Kata approach, the mentality, into the process of developing that A3. And he was able to understand the direction and the challenge that was being faced by the hospital and compare that to his current condition, and then establish a really good target condition that was like 3 months into the future. It's kind of a bite out of the Big Apple. And it was a very well-rounded target condition. It had components related to marketing and related to clinical quality and case management and so on and so forth. And we started realizing very quickly that this was going to be a great opportunity to engage his hospital leadership team. And so, because it was such a well-rounded target condition, and we started thinking, okay, how would that work? And so we started to experiment with how might we kind of utilize the fractal nature of the Kata approach to have some smaller improvement efforts nested within the larger CEO-driven A3 effort. And so we started experimenting with that, and we realized that there was kind of 8 different improvement efforts that needed to be worked within this one target condition. So that's the OctaKata concept comes from. And it kind of looks like this. Each of the hospital directors is pursuing a portion of the target condition utilizing the improvement kata, and they're being coached by myself and by the hospital CEO. So the hospital CEO is not only being the learner at the big level, but the coach at the next level down, which is great. And each of these 8 individuals are also starting to develop their skills as a learner, practicing the improvement kata. And what's beautiful about it is that they're not just going off in 8 different directions, but they're all aligned because their challenge, their long-term direction, has been established by the target condition of the hospital CEO's A3. So you can see that arrow that connects them to there. Another beautiful thing is that the time frame has been compressed for these 8 smaller efforts. It's been bounded by the target condition, which kind of has that 3-month time frame on it. So the smaller efforts are going to have target conditions that are weeks apart, not months apart, which is a nice thing. And another beautiful thing that we started to see from these experiments was that the hospital directors, as they started to practice the improvement kata and develop as learners, they started spotting tangential improvement efforts that needed to occur that would provide opportunities for them to start practicing the coaching kata with their direct reports one level down. And I'll give you one example. One of our directors was working on improving the uniformity of our service lines, adding more procedures and that kind of stuff. And he was having difficulty measuring how uniform we were in our offerings and our procedures. So he engaged a physical therapist, a clinical person, a frontline staff member in developing a measurement system for how we measured the uniformity of the services that we offer. And that was a small improvement effort that could be done over the course of a week or 2, but it gave both the physical therapist the opportunity to practice the improvement kata and the director the opportunity to practice the coaching kata. And so we're all developing our skills together and experimenting at the same time. It's a really nice thing. So one lesson learned from these experiments was that the kata allows our people to plug and play with strategy. So you have this big strategy A3, but if there's no means by which we can break that big target condition down and to pieces that everybody can kind of work on, all utilizing a common language, a common approach, and helping each other along the way, then we don't really have the ability to plug and play. But with the kata mentality infused into the A3 process, I think it did provide that platform. Another lesson learned is that kata plays well with other lean tools. This effort all started by developing the strategy A3, and the A3 process is excellent at kind of providing pull for practice of the improvement kata and the coaching kata. Once you have that A3 that defines the direction and the target condition, now we have a lot of pull for all the directors that get involved. Conversely, the A3 benefited from the kata mentality that we were infusing into the CEO's mind as he was developing his A3. So it's kind of a symbiotic support system between the A3 and the kata approach. And I see that also with value stream maps. I also see that with Kaizen events and pretty much any other lean tool that you can think of. They help each other. And it's not a one or the other kind of thing that's a false choice. I would not define the improvement kata as a problem-solving technique per se. It does actually achieve great results when it comes to process improvement, but that's almost just our excuse to be able to practice these techniques so that we can build these habits and these mindsets and strengthen our muscle memory. And so I'll go back to the slide, which I do at the end of every video, and I'll say that's what it's really about, is your brain picking up that barbell and lifting weights and getting stronger and developing mental muscle memory. And the mechanism for that, again, is that every step is an experiment. So I learned as a kind of a corporate operational excellence coach that I can really create pull for the kata if we start, by having this awesome A3 that defines the direction in a visual manner. That really helps speed things along as you're trying to deploy the kata mindset. And I would not have learned that, my brain would not have developed that muscle if I had not treated like the development of this A3 and the OctaKata kind of rollout as a big experiment, basically. But we were able to work our way through the newness of it and the awkwardness of it and get to a better place by treating every step as an experiment. So we will, in the next video, jump into one last example, and then we will wrap it up.